Good morning, everybody. It's Alex from ASC on a Snap on Tuesday, but officially again a Wednesday because I'm rubbish. Some bits and bobs to talk about today, some Snap on stuff, some stock stuff, workshop stuff. So let's start there. First off, as it's Christmas, got myself some Kicker products in, ready for sale. Things like the HSA underseat sub, which has got an active amp in it, a few amplifiers, the Kicker key, which is like a sound processor and an amplifier in one unit, some little radiated 8-inch sub boxes, but they're super thin, little tube with a sub each end, that's quite cool, little 6-inch, and of course obviously the solar barrack. Yeah, so some bits and bobs there for people for Christmas. Where do we start? Well, I've got a bit of a cold. I managed to put my back out. I've got tennis elbow in my arm, so everything at the minute I'm just getting old and falling apart, which is great. And the workshop is heaving. Lots of stuff going on. I've had a shufty round as well, so things have changed a bit in here. What I've done is the tables that were there, which was holding the Lotus sort of rear lid and the engine cover and kind of boot floor carpet. The tables have been binned off. I've built myself some shelving, put some hooks on so I can store my stock and things like that properly. And then all the other junk has gone up onto the top here on the big racking. Got some cool stuff in and some normal stuff in. Got Luke's valeting van. He's in for. We're getting rid of this head unit. It used to be like an old AA van, so it's got all the switches and stuff and the beacons, which are no longer on it. But we're going to put some Rockford speakers in the door, nice Pioneer CarPlay head unit, and jazz it up a little bit for him. I've got a mate of mine, Foxy, and his fun bus, a little camper that he uses. He goes to a lot of music festivals and stuff like that. That's kind of his thing. And we've done some bits and bobs for him. We've put an Alpine Easy Dab in it, a screen, a reversing camera. So there's one up there, but we're going to put another one next to it. So he's got rear view and watching the tow hitch at the back. So running those cables and stuff through, that'll be today's mission. And it will hook up to that little TV unit. Where are we? Just there. So it looks like a rear view mirror, but it's actually got a screen in it, but it can have dual screen, so he'll have one pointing down on the floor to see where he's going to hit or not hit, and one looking backwards like a normal rear view. So the workshop's pretty heaving today. It's not all Ferraris and Lambos. There is some normal stuff in here, and also a little RX-7, a little bit of a blast from the past. I'm putting some bits and bobs in there, some security. The guy wants keyless entry with like RFID tags and an immobilizer, so there'll be a bit of stuff hidden away in the vehicle. You can see all the dash is taken out of it. There's cables and stuff everywhere. Proper Japanese wiring is a right mess, but we're going to be doing that. Putting in a push button start as well. He wants one of those. Steering lock has been removed, so he's not going to have to use the key. And then on the binnacle, you can have that with his push button start there. We've cut out the hole where the cigarette lighter used to be, and obviously inserted this rubber ring, and now he's got push start. So that'll all get wired up to the vehicle. He's also going to have a nice Pioneer top of the range Navi unit and a ThinkWare dash cam for the old the nutters on the road at the minute, which we seem to get ever more of. But yeah, other than that, it's a fairly bone stock car. It's had a complete respray and a factory standard rebuilt engine. It's the still the twin, so sequential. Nothing, no sort of big power goodness on it yet, but I'm sure that's bound to come. What else? Lotus stuff. I've started doing a bit more on the engine. Let me just turn this radio down. YouTube police sniffing out the music. So the liners are all measured up and good to go, and now I've started basically getting the piston rings ready to go in. There's effectively 4, or 5 if you count the oil ring. CP pistons, so you get sort of 2 oil control rings, 1 wafer ring, and then a top ring and a bottom ring, and I've basically got to put these in the bore so they'll kind of close up a little bit under duress, and then I've got to measure the bore diameter, times it by a special number, come up with some kind of gap, and that's what I've got to file the piston rings down to. So they'll obviously expand at the right amount of heat. There's my little piston ring grinding wheel there. But yeah, they'll expand with the right amount of heat, but not pinch in the bore. But obviously keep the compression through for the vehicle, so it will sound good. What else? Christmas is starting. Obviously, we're getting all the wife's presents ready, slippers and body oils and all sorts of guff. But yeah, what else? Snap-on stuff. Yes. So I had this. I showed you this last time, which was the bit driver. I also had the 3/8 side-on ratchet and the quarter drive. Well, I did some servicing on my truck, which is the Land Cruiser. I don't know whether I've shown you that. But the 3/8 ratchet, the 90-degree, it wouldn't undo a wet fart. And I was quite disappointed by that, because I do use my tools, but I keep them in good condition. They're never thrown around on the floor and whatnot. But I could undo it with a hand ratchet, and it was perfectly fine. Put the gun on it, just didn't want to undo it at all. Sorry, not the gun, the ratchet, the side angle ratchet. Yeah, I wouldn't undo it. So I spoke to Jodie yesterday and said, look, you know, in all fairness, I don't use this thing very often, but the one time I have, it you know, couldn't pull the skin off a rice pudding. We need to do something about that. So in hindsight, this one I use more than anything, and it's got quite a lot of torque, and it's good enough for what I use. But I like the side-on ratchet because sometimes you need a little bit of welly and whatnot. So obviously using it like a normal ratchet, and you can use it electronically. I ended up trading it in, good old Jode. So he said to me, you know, the bigger extended ratchet is, I think, $250. So he said, we'll take your old one back, credit you some money, and obviously just pay the extra, and you can get the long one. So I got this one now. Now, I think it was pretty much because I kind of had one of the first ones, and I think Snap-on, as they grow on with stuff, or as they go on with stuff, they grow their knowledge into the reliability and the mechanical side of things. They must test them, I guess they do, but I think you'll like with the bit driver gun that I've got. I know we talked before, I've had a few problems with the trigger on this one failing. There's no battery in it, that's not me. And they've changed it so the trigger feels differently and the motor sounds differently. So obviously as time goes on, they evolve them as well. And I think that's the same thing with this. So my other one had a silver head. Obviously it was only sort of yay long, not the full extension. But this one does feel, it's got a lot more kick to the torque. Now I don't think that's because it's longer, I think it's because they've changed the motor. The trigger also feels differently, it's not as wavy as the last one, so I think there's obviously an upgrade there. So, you know, good old Snap-on, it's why I love them. Changed the gun for a better, changed the ratchet for a better ratchet, a longer ratchet, and got a bit more welly out of it for, you know, a little bit more money, so I don't mind doing that. What else? I think that's about it, really. Yeah, other than a tidy up, everything's, you know, going on. I've got my work cut out today, even though I'm feeling a bit poorly and a bit, you know, a bit achy with my back and my elbow, which is probably why my camera's shaking. So I'll apologise now if I'm wobbling you around. But yeah, so that's Snap-on Tuesday. On a Wednesday, kind of redone and stuff. Anyway, bye.